Hello and welcome to another LOTRO beta video with me, Balthelion, and today we are going to be discussing the new instrument that is going to be added in Update 22, which is the fiddle. And strictly speaking, there's actually 4 different types of fiddle, which for all intents and purposes are effectively like their own instruments as it is. So without getting further ado, let's show you the 4 types we have. So there are going to be 4 different ones which will be obtained in different ways. They haven't really elaborated. The only difference I've seen at the minute is one of them is purchased using anniversary tokens. So I don't know whether that's the plan, is that one of them will be available as part of the anniversary festival this year, exclusively for that type. But we have these 4 types on the left over here. So we have the Lonely Mountain Fiddle, which I believe was the one that I got with the anniversary tokens. And I've linked it twice. Lonely Mountain, Travellers, Sprightly, and the Students one is the one I've currently got equipped, I think. There we go. Plonk that one up there. So there's 4 different types of fiddle. They each have their own sound. So the basic one, if I start with that one first, just equip it. So if I do /music, just to get my fiddle out. They also have their own appearances as well to note here. So let's just move that out of the way. So the basic fiddle looks still fairly elaborate, if you can just make that out past my UI there. I'll hide it a bit and see it a bit better. It's still got a pretty elaborate design. I'm playing it even though I'm not actually making noise here. So the basic one plays long held notes that stop when you stop pressing the note. So if I press a button, you see it takes a little bit of time to warm up each note. And obviously you can do chords as well. But it kind of builds up each note, and that's the basic flavour. Then there is the Sprightly, which is this one, which I can't do at the minute because I'm playing. So activate Sprightly Fiddle music mode. So if we look at this one instead of having a bit of gold inlay, it's got a bit of silver inlay. I don't know if the engravings are slightly different as well. It's a bit difficult to tell. This one's kind of got a bit of a diamond pattern going on. But the Sprightly Fiddle plays staccato notes that always finish, is the description that's got there. So if we place the notes, so they end pretty quickly. It quickly plays a note and it instantly stops. It's not a held down thing. So you can potentially play some quicker music, would probably be better off on that sort of style. The third one is the Lonely Mountain one, which might just come out. It's that one. So if we have a look at this one, so this one's a bit of a darker wood, I think, than the previous one. But is it the same style? It might be slightly darker wood, or it might be the different light angle, I think. But this one plays vibrato notes that stop when you stop the note. So if you hear that one, it's kind of like the Student's Fiddle, the basic one, which will do a long note the longer you hold down the button. But this time you can kind of hear the kind of wavery like of the note. So you kind of hear it vibrating a little bit. So if you've got something that you want a bit more of an old school vibe or just a bit more atmosphere of it, this could be the one for you. But again, the notes take a little bit of a while to warm up as well. And then the final one, which I believe is this one, the Traveller's Trusty Fiddle. So if we equip this one. So this one doesn't have grey edges, but this bit seems to be a bit gold at least. So there's little touches. They're not massively different, but they do have some slight differences in their appearance. So the Traveller's one plays pizzicato notes, which is like a plucked string instrument that always finish. So you can hear it's kind of like we're plucking the notes, but they're short notes once again. So there's 2 with long held notes and 2 with like shorter notes. One is just a normal quick note, and one is the pluck, which is this one here. This one's kind of like a bit more like a sort of like banjo-y kind of thing. But there's, yeah, 4 different types of sounds. Based on what players have been saying at the moment, it has a bit of a narrower octave than some of the other instruments. So if you're looking to play like some really high notes or low notes, then you might struggle to get in the right range. But unlike the other instruments, where it might just substitute with whatever's at the low end of the notes that it can play, there's some interesting like percussion kind of notes that the instruments will play that you'll probably hear in a minute when I start playing some scripted ABC files. So they can you can kind of do some percussion noises like you would as a real musician. You might, I'm not sure if you necessarily see it with a fiddle. I might be wrong. But certainly like with a harp or whatever, you can do like some like percussion-y noises where you're hitting the harp to get some like little knocks and stuff. But because these are, most people will be playing music using ABC files, which are just like little text files which are converted from MIDI files. You might struggle because you might convert that MIDI file and you'll be playing a nice piece of music and all of a sudden there'll be like a big knock or some kind of percussion noise in the middle of your song, which might sound a bit out of place. But it's nice for those musicians that will come up with something that they can actually put in there. And if you're the kind of person that you would write your own music to play in concerts in LOTRO, you're probably going to love that fact. If you're the kind of person who's just going to convert MIDI files using Maestro or some other application to do it, you might struggle a bit and it might kind of get annoying, so you might be relying on non-fiddle instruments a bit more. It doesn't always do it. I'll see it a couple of times though in some of the scripted files that I'm going to play. But yeah, I've got a couple of music tracks that are ABC files that I've got on this PC, so I'm going to play through a couple of tracks using each of the fiddles, so you can kind of get a feel how they will actually sound when they're playing pieces of music. And so they're not necessarily one is going to be better than the other at all kinds of song. It kind of depends on what the tune needs. So some of them might be better with longer notes, some might be better with short notes. If you're having a bit of a folk song, you might like the plucked one a bit more. It just kind of depends on what your needs are and how good your ABC music files are. But yeah, so let's get a few examples. So as you're about to see, you can use the fiddle on a minstrel as a combat weapon. However, the different sounds of the different types of fiddle does not apply to its use in combat. They will all sound the same. So at the minute, this is the sprightly fiddle. So you can have little bits of melody playing with each one like you would normally for any of the other weapons, rather than single notes. If you just have to disengage a second. So we'll switch to the Lonely Mountain Fiddle. And again, see, this is going to be exactly the same noises. Oh, that was an interesting one. And then finally we have the student's fiddle here. So I don't have the traveller's fiddle on Lydia because she doesn't have any anniversary tokens to actually purchase it, which is a shame. But it will sound exactly the same anyway, same as the other 3 here. But personally, I think it's all right. It's serviceable. I personally prefer the drum. The drum feels more warrior-ish for actual combat usage. But for those of you who like the fiddle and want to use it for combat as well as just playing music, it is perfectly serviceable. So that pretty much rounds it out then for the fiddle. So let me know what you guys think. Which one's your favourite out of those? I'd probably say mine is probably the Lonely Mountain fiddle, just because it's got a bit of reverb on it, which makes it sound a bit nicer. But they're all pretty good. It depends on what you're playing, really. Some sound slightly better on different instruments. As you can see, there are some notes that bottom out on these ABC files, so you could potentially edit them or change some of the notes, or just deal with it, or even make those notes part of the music. In some cases, you can deliberately put in some percussion knocks and stuff to make some music tracks a bit more interesting. For those ones that you are playing solo rather than in a band, in the Prancing Pony or wherever. But there are some other changes as well coming to other instruments, which were in the second round of beta testing on Bullroarer. So notably the manuals of the clarinet, drums, flute, harp and horn, which previously you needed to be level 30 to use, can now be used at level 10. The basic bagpipe now has a minimum level of 15, which is down from 25. The manual of the fiorbo can now be used at level 15, which was down from 30. And the Moor cowbell has a minimum level of 20, down from 40. And the basic pibcorn, or pigborn, however you prefer, now has a minimum level of 25, which is down from way up at level 65. So it just means everyone has access to instruments a lot easier than they did previously, for those that just like to be low level and do a bit of role play with some musical instruments, or for those that like to turn up on other servers they don't normally play on and just chip in with a bit of musical instruments for a concert every now and then. It just makes your life a bit easier. So those are pretty nice changes overall. The fiddle itself, every class will be able to play this. I think you get it automatically at level 5. So this will be the third instrument that all classes can play by default, because normally everyone can play a lute, and then I think it's either a horn or a clarinet, depending on your class. So it just means that you have a bit more variety in the early game if you just want to try playing some musical instruments. So that obviously means there's going to be no manual for minstrels to teach other classes how to play this, since everyone can play it by default. But it'll be interesting to see how the acquisition of these fiddles gets distributed. I don't know if all 4 are going to be in the game at launch, but as I said, one of them seems to be available through the anniversary festival, or at least available for an anniversary token in the beta server. The other 3 are just available just to purchase normally, so I don't know whether they'll be at the minstrel trainer or whether they'll be spaced out in different places around the game. But that's pretty much it for now then. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that fiddle preview, and stay tuned for more LOTRO beta videos for update 22. So leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think of the fiddle, and until next time, see you guys later.